Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder and attorney at Meldon Law, and I'm so excited for our show today. We've got a good friend of mine, James Bates, as our featured guest, and a lot going on in Gator world that we're going to be talking about. Welcome to the show, James. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me on. It's been a little while, Jeffrey, and I feel honored. I watch you and I see a lot of that white coat. You wear that white coat so much. Looks like you got a really nice blue one on for me today, huh?
Yeah. So here's the story. Everybody in the office wanted to have a team uniform, so I just bought like 50 of those white jackets. I love the idea of having a team uniform. So we're building the Meldon Law team. Anyhow, those of you that don't know who James Bates is, he played middle linebacker at the University of Florida during the championship run in 1996 and was actually captain of the team. And in 2014, Batesy, as he's sometimes called by the head ball coach, Spurrier, was inducted into the Florida-Georgia Football Hall of Fame. And now in his career, he's been hosting play-by-play and analysis for a number of different networks. College games he's covered are numerous. And he recently produced and directed a documentary called Here Come the Gators, featuring Billy Donovan and Gator basketball. Let's turn about. We have a national championship in basketball, so let's lead. Let's do a lead with the national championship deal. Okay, tell me about this series, 5-part series you did.
Oh no, no, that was with Billy, and I don't know how to answer that any other way, but throwing you under the bus just a tiny bit. You're a busy man, so and you know what, and I will say this too. You asked me to send you a bio, and I've been scrambling around the last couple of days so much, so I'll put it on me. It's my fault, but that's not recently. So whatever, whoever gave you that, it's a while ago, but it was a really really cool series. Back with Billy and the '04s, those guys. I mean, not only one of the best basketball teams in the history of college basketball, but one of the most unique. The characters. I mean, you couldn't beat those guys. Like Joe Kim and Al and and Hump, Lee Hump, who's calling games now. And but this run this year was so much fun, and boy, did we ever need it! It was perfect timing. After we just been a little bit down on the football field there in the swamp the last couple years, and to make that run in basketball and to watch it happen, it was such a blast. And I am glad, Jeffrey, that you brought that up, because with my class there at UF, when I went back in, whenever the heck that was that you gave out the rings, my students, I mean, they were so fired up. They were, oh gosh, I mean, you would have thought that you handed them each $1,000. They're like over half the class went to the game, and they were so fired up about these rings. A couple of them brought them in, and that was a really special touch. That was really really cool. You just keep on making people smile, and that's the way. To me, that's the way you've always been. You've been always such a positive guy. So it's great to have you in Gainesville, and it's great to have you as a friend. And again, I appreciate you having me on the show today.
Well, thank you very much. The story behind the rings, though, starts with Freddie Weeby, right? Of course, and of course, and Freddie comes to me and says, "Well, the University Athletic Association, well, they want to know how deep your pocket is, and do we want to do a ring promotion?" Well, I had been fortunate that my wife at a silent auction, bought me a 2008 Gator Football Championship ring. And I have it at home, and I wear it occasionally if I want to bring good luck to the football team, right? So I knew what a replica ring could look like. And, this was a ring. My wife wanted it so bad she overbid. She bid like $500 on this ring, and she was bidding against herself. So that's what I had in my mind. And Freddie comes to me, and I said, Freddie, I don't want a piece of junk. Can we have something substantial? He said, yes, we'll make it happen. So we gave away 10,600 rings at the Merrimack basketball game. And I was so excited and proud to have it unfold like that, because the fans got something that they felt was important, memorable, and they deserved that recognition.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's a great story too.
Now I do have your ring for you as well. So I keep it in the back of my car. So the next time we see each other, I got a ring or two for you.
Awesome. Thank you. I like it.
Now, do you have one yet yourself?
No, I didn't go to that game. We live in Yulee now, and so we it's a bit of a trip to come back to town, and so we didn't come in for that game, and but I didn't even realize that was going down until class the next day, or my next day I had class, and so. But yeah, so I will definitely take you up on that. I can't wait to see that.
A quick story. Freddie and I wanted to promote the ring giveaway, but Todd Golden was upset with the team because they had lost a couple games, and he wouldn't give them the original rings, right, until he felt they, quote unquote, deserved it, okay? So we couldn't take a picture of the ring. We couldn't use any promotion for the ring until like the last minute. So I went on every radio station, every podcast. I was doing 2 or 3 radio interviews and podcasts for 10 days running up to that show in order to get people to know they had to show up at the arena to get the ring. It must have worked because we had the largest turnout in the last 20 years for a Gator basketball game.
Wow. Yeah, that's that. I'll bet that was frustrating. You're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then all right, you got to go now.
Well,
now
we
go,
took
let them all know.
We took it in our hands. So anyhow, we got to give a plug to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. I'm here at the grill. You can see all of Spurrier's helmets behind us. But let's, for a minute, talk about upstairs, right? One of my favorite rooms here at Spurrier is called the Champions Room, and James Batesy is the artist in residence here. And let's talk a little bit about how that championship room, the Champions Room, came to be, and how you became the artist for all the national championship coaches that have ever been at the University of Florida.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? Well, thank you, and I love it too. We were just up there for the New Year's Eve party, and so it was upstairs in Visors, and they had the room open, and it's one of those things where I'm so proud of it that I go in that room, and it just takes my breath away because I'm so proud to be a little sliver, a little part of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And I just, and I'm sitting there, and I don't want to get caught just in awe of my own work. I guess it ain't bragging if it's true. But I just and so I'm okay, there's no one around. I can just sit here and just soak them all in. And this is so cool. And Jenny Rowland was there, who hopefully is the next Gator coach that I paint a championship portrait of. They've got a pretty good team. They're getting ready to start, I think, this week maybe, the gymnastics season, and that would be fun to put a little bit more paint on a canvas. But of course, we go back to it started with Freddie Weeby. We need to get a little parrot for the podcast and just say, Freddie Weeby, Freddie Weeby. It's
You know
no, we're
what?
doing, and it was his idea, and he's like, I want to do something. I want to do something with all these other coaches and everything, and if I'm not mistaken, Coach Spurrier wanted to make sure he acknowledged all of these other champions, and that's one thing that Coach Spurrier has always been. He's always been great with supporting these other sports, and he's always been great with just going out and oh uh, Coach Shelton, Ben Shelton, when they won the national championship, Coach Spurrier went down to Orlando and he went and watched them win the national championship. And he's always been such a big supporter, so it doesn't surprise me that he wanted something like that. And I was trying to think of something. Do we do this big mural? And just basically we came up with, hey, let me just do a portrait of everyone. I'm sure, as Mr. Gainesville as you are, I'm sure you know Hector down at Hector Framing. And he did all the framing, and the frames look beautiful. It's really, really cool. I'm really proud of that room.
Yeah, so to describe it to the the visitors to the show, whether you're listening or watching, it's a private dining room that has individual portraits of every coach at the University of Florida who's won a national championship. And what are we up to now? 17, 16, I forget. A bunch.
Yeah, it is a bunch, and I think it might even be closer to 20 than it is to 15.
Yeah.
I should know that, but
And
yeah, well, hopefully we'll be adding another one soon.
yeah, well, we added Todd Golden, and that was really, like you said, the Gator fan base really needed that. And, to be able to have a team that wasn't even ranked in the top 10 in the beginning of the season go on to win a national championship without I don't think we had any recruits on that team that were in the top 100 when they were recruited.
Wow, wow. That
So,
says a lot about, of course, about coach, but it also says a lot about the leadership on that team. And you don't, especially in basketball, you don't do that with, you could probably, if you had a couple of McDonald's All-Americans on a team, you could get over a little bit of selfishness, but you can't be a real selfish basketball team, or really in any sport, be selfish and have success like that. It says a lot about the coaches, says a lot about the leaders on that team, and it was a fun run, one I'll never forget.
in the beginning of the season, they were practicing together, and we had one transfer, Elijah Martin, who had played on a Final Four team. And he, big, strong, athletic guard, anyhow, here's the new kid on the block, the new player. And after a couple practices, they go into the dressing room and he starts yelling and screaming to all the players that they're a bunch of pussies. They're never going to go anywhere. They don't know what it's like to win, to fight and win big games. Elijah Martin was the lightning rod last year, and I've heard this from all the players as well as coaches, right?
Wow.
And so far this year, we don't have an Elijah Martin. Now, we also lost three guards to the NBA, okay? And that puts more pressure on our front court, which luckily we retained. However, we still don't have three NBA guards in the back court, and that may explain why we're not that far away. We've lost 5 games by a total of 17 points. So by 3, that's one basket. So
And a handful are to some really good basketball teams too.
yes,
Close one, a really
yeah,
good team.
we're not losing to chopped liver. However, in sports, whether it's football or basketball, there's an intangible as far as leadership and how to really create a team leader within the players versus the just the coaches. Talk a little bit about that because you were captain of the 1996 championship team. What did you see as your role?
Well, first of all, you leave CLU out of your mouth. I had a lot of family members that went to Chop Liver University, and they may not win a lot of games, Meldon, but they play hard and they play with heart. So you take that back, or I'm never coming back on here. Uh, uh, it's it. I that's something that I'm also very proud of is the fact that you know I was an all SEC linebacker. I made a lot of tackles and had some interceptions but I think as much as anything just the leadership and not just myself but the other captains and the other players on the team and the way that we made sure as leaders that we all cared for one another and that we got along and we had each other's backs. Uh, that to me is something that I'm so proud of, and I know that I had a big part in being a captain, and and your teammates are the ones who vote on that, and it's not like it's a couple media writers out there that aren't sure what the vibe is in the locker room, and now I mean it's in this day and age it seems gosh, even harder to put your finger on the pulse. You've got all these transfers. Hey, oh look, they've got all these great guys coming in, but how well are they going to get along? How what's that locker room going to be like? Are they really going to enjoy being around each other? Is there going to be jealousy, especially now with the money that's being thrown around? So it's definitely a different time, and but I would say now even more so than ever it's important to have those leaders, like you mentioned, Elijah Martin earlier. Just those leaders are you can't put a price tag on those guys, and that you're out spending a lot of money for this athlete or this guy can run this fast or throw this or this guy's this strong. But the one thing I hope that all these teams are looking at is, hey, what kind of guy is he? Is he going to make the locker room better, or is he going to maybe split it apart a little bit? So that's huge. That's huge, and I don't care, what era you're playing in. It's always going to matter that those leaders are good.
I think it's interesting because my first reaction with NIL and all these new players, being moved around like players on a chessboard or something from one school to another, it does make it a lot more difficult to have leadership because you don't build a bond with somebody in 1 week. And the fact is, when you were playing, players played for 4 years on a team for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to know each other. And year after year after year, you build trust, you build familiarity with what your players were like, what you could joke around with them about, what you couldn't joke around them with about, what they were like as people. Now you've got teams that are basically flipping over every year. Maybe half the team is back the next year. And
Yeah.
so the whole idea of leadership and being a captain on a team has been redefined in many ways. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, absolutely. And not only do the team members get to know one another and build these relationships, but the players and the fans. That's why that's why I feel like everybody, freaking out so much when it was time to hire a new head coach because you better like that guy and hopefully that guy's going to be around for a while because it's hard to really embrace these guys and go all in on getting to know them because you're a little reluctant holding them at times it seems at arm's length. Hey, glad you're a Gator, but am I really going to get to know you, or is it going to be poof? Which, by the way, breaking news for me. I don't know how new it is, but you just gave me the update as we were getting ready to flip the switch and come on. So Baugh is back. Jaden Baugh is back. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the fact is that we need to keep the great talent that we have. And he's going to be, a huge piece in rebuilding the team that sputtered since, 2009, really, was the last great year that we had. So, what are your thoughts about Gator football coming into 2026?
Well, that right there, that wherever I was in prior to, and I was driving in, so I don't know how old that news is, but it's new news to me. And with that news flash, that to me is, I mean, I really feel like I feel like we can do a lot of great things. He to me was the most important we needed to get because I've seen a lot of great running backs come through. I played with a lot of great running backs, like Terry Jackson and Fred Taylor were a couple of my teammates, Elijah Williams. But one that when I first got here, Eric Rett was still around for a couple of years, and he's always been he's always been one of my top three Gators just because he's got such great energy. He's such an incredible worker and leader, but he just ran with so much heart. And the end of that year, we didn't always have a whole lot to play for, and everybody was complaining about this and this and this. But the one thing that you could count on was Jaden to run that football and to give it everything he had, and that coupled with the mentality of Coach Summerall that's really exciting to me. That's huge. That's huge to build on. And I know we got a couple others like Vernell and Graham. But man, that is so big for me. I loved watching him, and I appreciated watching him run the football. I can't stomach going to the swamp and watching a football game, and guys aren't just playing their guts out. I mean, they should in every game, but even more so in the swamp. In games like that Miami game last year or 2 seasons ago anyway, and the USF game this year, it really really hurts. It hurts my heart to see you've got guys kind of taking it for granted that you're playing in what I think is the greatest football stadium in the land. I love the swamp. I feel like I met my wife there. She was a swimmer. Tina was a swimmer at UF, and we lived in Yon Hall, so we basically lived in the swamp. She lived in Murphy Hall right across the way, but all of our meals were in Yon. Our study center, where we actually met for the first time, was in Yon. And I've told her many times that that's where I want my ashes spread. It's probably she'd have to do it on the sly. Everybody in there like running stadiums, like what's that chick doing down there? Because she'd probably get in trouble for it. But it's one of the most special places on earth to me, and I just cannot stand it when guys aren't in there just doing everything they can to compete in there and not taking it for granted. And Jaden Ball's one guy who has never done that. And I really appreciate his hustle, and I appreciate his effort and his heart. And that's great news. So I'm stoked about that, Jeffrey.
Yeah, you mentioned Eric Rett. I've become friends with him recently. He's living down in Fort Lauderdale, and we have an office in Fort Lauderdale and Miami now, and my daughter's running our South Florida branch. And Eric and I have gotten to be buddies. And he was up for a Gator basketball recently, and he's a great Gator. He loves the Gators, and wants to know what he can do, to continue to help. So I'll pass your words of admiration about him to him next time we talk.
Please do, please do. One of a kind, man. One of a kind. He actually came over. This was probably, gosh, our kids were young still, so this was a while now. But he was redoing a couple of houses up in Gainesville, and he came over and had dinner. And we have Hank, our Catahoula. I think we had just gotten him actually, and and Eret came over. We cooked him dinner. We're sitting there, and we got all the young Bates kids around. And he tells this story. And when you can imagine, you've been around him enough, and he's kind of like Coach Spurrier. And all you have to do is be around him 5 minutes, and you've got a great story from him. But he tells this story about when he first got into the NFL. He wanted this Rottweiler, and this guy had this whatever the thing is, like the most sought after markings and the size of the head and all this for the Rottweilers. This dog had it that this guy that Eret ran into, and he wanted the dog, and the guy would not give it up. Long and the short, and I hope I'm not throwing him under the bus here, but like he ended up, let's just say he ended up spending many thousands of dollars on this dog, and he gave the guy his starter. They have a deal I have a deal with Nike, and Nike gives me $10,000 a year gear, whatever I want. He gave the guy his starter package, so he gave the guy thousands of dollars and this starter package, and it was like, oh, Bates, man. And he got him a tattoo, and he pierced its ear, and so he says, so Bates, and he's got that, so Bates, so all of my buddies, they wanted to bring their rots over and mate with my dog. And he goes, and I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. And I told him no. I did it once or twice, but then I said, no, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. So he found out somehow that when he would go out of town to play a game, they would bring their dogs over to his house. They would bring their dogs over to his house in hopes that they could get him to mate. And he says in front of our kids, he goes, "They were raping my dog, man. They were raping my dog." And our kids were like,
Oh
oh,
my
I love
God.
that beat.
Well,
Oh.
well, I'll tell you, I'm so excited to have you on the show. What we're moving into a new year, and I really think that we got the right coach. But before we leave, I want to tell you this, okay? Many years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I bought this incredible painting that you did. I think it was called Warm Waters, maybe. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, of course I remember this. You were
So,
like the first person that ever bought a big piece from me, man.
yeah. So, right now, my daughter, okay, as one of her wedding gifts, made me loan it to her, and it's in her home in Miami, in Aventura. And it's right when you walk into the living room. It's a feature piece, and I want to tell you how much we really admire it. We look at it all the time, and it's one of our favorite pieces. So I want to thank you very much for that.
Oh, that makes me want to cry. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think about it all the time, man. Remember, we had the little show at Song and Heroes, the Dragonfly, when Hooters was still on the corner and Dragonfly was two doors down. And I um do I have 5 minutes to tell this story?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So Eric Kresser, my roommate in college and still good
Well,
friend
he
of
and
this.
he was living upstairs in the building where
Yep.
Dragonfly was.
Yeah, he was living up above, and he majored in art. And so there was a place where Tina and I, my wife, where we got engaged up in Tennessee on the Little Pigeon River, right by Gatlinburg, Sevier County, where I went to high school. And this spot, this big rock out in the river, and I took the picture to Cresser and I said, "Hey, will you paint this for me? I want to give it to Tina for Christmas." "Oh yeah, I'll do it." And this, long time out, and then Christmas was getting a little closer, and it wasn't happening. He's like, "Oh, I'm real busy, man. You like to draw. You like to create. I'll teach you how to build a canvas, and you can come over and paint it at my house there above Dragonfly." And so I did it. Tina loved the painting. We still have it. We love it. And right about that same time, we had just finished up doing the Water Boy. I had a little part on the Water Boy, and then we were going down to Miami to do Any Given Sunday with Al Pacino and LL Cool J and Dennis Quaid and all these guys. And so we in the Water Boy, not only did I have that little part, but I was also a glorified extra with the football scenes. So these football movies, they had a lot of times they'll get former football players to be the, because they don't have to teach them as much for the tackling and all that. So I was on my way down to go work on this. So we were going to be there for a while. We were in this training camp, but I was staying right on Lincoln Square near South Beach, and all the galleries there. I was just blown away by this art and this color, and it was all these landscapes. And I'm like, man, I got to have art like this, but I could never afford art like this. So when I got back, I actually broke my nose and had to leave. But when I got back, I just started building canvases and started painting all these abstract landscapes. One of which was your Warm Waters piece, but I did it just to kind of hoard them and have them on my walls in my house. But then I started getting so many that people were like, "You need to have a show. You need to have a show." And so we did it there at Dragonfly, and it was so cool. And you came up to me and you were the first one to buy a piece from me. And just to tie it in to put a bow on all this, so our daughter Talia, who, by the way, talking about bringing it all around, won your scholarship award a few years back, about 7 or 8 years ago, that you give to the local student athletes, and we appreciate that. So Talia is getting married to a guy swimmer, Alfonso Mestre. They both swam at UF. Alfonso swam for Venezuela in the last two Olympics, and his family, with a Venezuelan wife of your own, you probably know there are a lot of Venezuelans down in South Florida, especially on Key Biscayne, and so they're getting married in March on Key Biscayne, but right out in the water from Key Biscayne is Stiltsville. And Stiltsville is just so amazing to me. And so a lot of my work now is like folk art and people and text and everything. But I still every now and then I get the itch. I'm like, I got to create time to do more abstract landscapes because those have always been some of my favorites. And so I'm working on a series of Stiltsville houses. And I've finished one. I've got a couple that I'm about to finish. And I want to use this art for the table markers, like the number markers at the wedding, because it's right there on Key Biscayne, right just basically in the shadow of Stiltsville, if you will. And so that'll kind of be a little bit of the theme for the tables for this place settings there at the wedding in March. But you might like some of those too if you need one to replace warm water.
I'll, I'll save some rings for you. You save me some Stiltville stuff.
Okay. Okay.
All I remember going to Key Biscayne is that they took me to one place out there where everybody is walking around with about 3 or 4 feet of water, and they have boats serving boat drinks, and you come up to it, and it's like one party, usually on the weekends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
So
that's and they know how to party down there. I don't know that I could ever handle it. I don't know that I
really,
could ever handle that even when I was in school, I'd go down and visit Lawrence Wright. I'd go down to stay at Eric Kresser's in Palm Beach, and we say, hey, let's go out with L Dog tonight. Let's drive down to Miami and go hang out with Lawrence. We'd get down there and we'd get down to his place at like 9 o'clock, and it's not even he's not even thinking about going out until about 11. And so finally, we just ended up driving back to Palm Beach. We're like, hey, we're just gonna go home. We're tired. We never went out.
hey, that's great. Well, listen, we're going to wrap things up. We got 2026 is here. We got a lot of exciting things. Who are you picking for the national championship for football?
Well, I'm rooting for Indiana. They're fun to watch. Their offensive line is so powerful, and I think that it's time to start believing a little bit. I so I think it would be so much fun to see just the new blood in there. Behind them, though, I wouldn't mind to see Ole Miss continue to make this run. It's that's been really cool to see. Without with their coach pulling a Baltimore Colts on them, and poof, he's gone overnight. So they got to kind of do it. It's just all of us, together. This is all we need, type of thing. So I'm rooting for those two teams. I don't hate on Miami like a lot of Gators do. I feel like I should hate on them a little bit more, but I can't. They were good to Talia. Our daughter, she graduated from UF, and then she went and swam 1 year, her COVID year, down at Miami, and got her master's, and it was just good people down there, and she enjoyed it, and they were really good to her. But I still would like to see Ole Miss win that one, and but I think Indiana overall, I think that'd be really good for college football. It'd be really fun.
There's a couple storybook endings, right? Indiana would be, Mississippi, Ole Miss would be. I pick up the Baltimore Colts reference because I grew up in Cleveland. A lot of people don't know that part of the story.
Middle of the night.
Middle of the night. I'm from Cleveland. In the middle of the night, Art Modell, the owner of the team for 30 years, packs up everything that the team owned and takes it in a bunch of tractor trailers to Baltimore. And all of a sudden, Cleveland was without a team for about 3 years. So that was not a good picture. However, the NFL then reestablished Cleveland as a franchise, and we're only 51 years into waiting for our next national championship. But no, it's 61 years. I think it was 64. Browns was the last NFL championship we won. So that's a long time. Okay, Batesy.
We never had this discussion. My dad actually coached for Belichick for, I want to say, about 5 or 6 years. He was on all those staffs up there with Saban and Kirk Ferentz and Phil Savage, all those guys. And so I would go up there in the summers to Berea College, and I would ball boy for them and work out there and hang out with those guys, with Bernie and Vinny and First Down Tommy. Remember Touchdown Tommy Vartell? And then they started calling him First Down Tommy because he only got first downs. He didn't score touchdowns.
Well, listen, this is fodder for the next show.
Yeah,
we could go on and on and on, but I want to wish you a happy New Year to you and your family. And my promise is I will make myself available whenever you come to town, and we're going to get together and hang out.
Good deal. I'll bring my bathing suit, Jeffrey.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, James Bates. Great show. And we're going to be back in just a couple minutes with our announcements of what's going on in the community. See you later, Batesy.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
I was going down a one-way street and a girl that was driving her car T-boned me on my scooter. I ended up going for an MRI and discovering that I had 2 herniated discs. Coming to Cary allowed me to not have to worry about what doctor I was going to see or what physical therapist I had to go to. They say, these are the people we trust. You're going to have a great experience there. And I honestly did each time.
Call Meldon Law. Your consultation is absolutely free.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon, because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Hey, Sammy, look who's there. Say hi.
Hey, Meldon Law, Jeffrey speaking.
Somebody else hit us!
Here we go again. Thank you very much for listening and watching to the show this week. Batesy is the best. I could go on and on with him forever. Anyhow, what's going on? Gainesville, the Downtown Winter Market Series running through January 25th on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And for 7 consecutive weeks, it's downtown 106 Southwest 1st Avenue, where Paramount Restaurant used to be. And there's going to be local vendors, live entertainment, and themed experiences. So some of the deals coming up, we have a music showcase January 16th through the 18th. And there's lots of other stuff going on. So check it out. Rumors at the Riley. Oh, this is always one of my favorites. January 16th at 7:30 p.m. at the Riley. Fleetwood Mac tribute. What a great group. I love Fleetwood Mac. I still listen to it frequently. And there's a great tribute band coming to the Riley January 16th at 7:30 p.m. The Riley Auditorium always has great shows. Check them out. On the same evening at 6:45 p.m., we've got Gator gymnastics team versus Alabama. Both of them are great teams. We've got one Olympian after another on our team, and Alabama is outstanding as well. So Friday, January 16th, be there or be square. Florida Gator Gymnastics. We have the Gainesville Orchestra with Evans Hale presents Ecstasy. It's at the Santa Fe College at the Jackson Sasser Fine Arts Auditorium, January 16th at 7:30 p.m. So celebrate the new year with Ravel's beloved Bolero and also this one's hard to pronounce, Scriabin's scintillating poem of ecstasy. I guess that's why they call it Ecstasy. And Evans Hale is a world-renowned orchestra conductor and leader. He's from Gainesville, although he spends a lot of time traveling in Europe as well as home in New York. He's been the guest conductor for the Boston Pops Orchestra, and happens to be the man who Patricia and I bought our home from. He bought his home from Clark Butler, and the home was built by M.M. Parrish. So those of you that have been around Gainesville for a while know that Evans Hale is an old family in Gainesville. I think they came here in 1854, and Hale Plantation, who now has changed their name, but that was Evans Hale's family that started that plantation in 1854. I think they came down from South Carolina. Anyhow, we got Heartwood Soundstage, January 18th at 7 p.m. The Steel Wheels with Nola Joy and the Ramblers. And they are a terrific group, and our friends at the Heartwood Soundstage do an amazing job. Let's support them. They have a new album called Sideways, which was recently released. Let's check it out. So the Steel Wheelers, Nola J and the Ramblers, and there's a lot going on. We're here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and we always invite you to come and visit us here. It's a great time, and we're so glad that we have Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in the neighborhood so that all the Gator fans can have a clubhouse to hang out at. Anyhow, that's the end of the show. I'm Jeffrey Meldon with Meldon Law, helping injured people put their lives back together after a serious accident. So give us a call if we can help. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and we'll be back next week on Meldon Law and Friends.